Picture this. The federal treasurer, Jim Chalmers, is standing at a podium, looking as pleased as a labrador that has just found a discarded meat pie. He is brandishing the 2025-26 Mid-Year Economic and Fiscal Outlook, the MYEFO, like it is a holy relic. He is calling it the most responsible update on record. He is practically purring about economic momentum. Then, enter Peta Credlin. If Jim is the Labrador, Peta is the high-voltage electric fence. She did not just rain on his parade. She brought a metaphorical monsoon, looked him dead in the eye on national television, and essentially called him a liar with a spending addiction that would make a lottery winner blush. We are talking about a total meltdown in the nation's capital, where the spin doctors are working overtime and the budget papers are being shredded by the sheer force of Credlin's glare. Is Jim a fiscal wizard, or just a man with a very expensive credit card and no plan to pay it off? Stay tuned, because the sparks are flying higher than the inflation rate. Quick favor, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers have not yet. It is free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thank you if you did. Now, back to the show. The most responsible fairy tale. Now, let us dive into the belly of the beast. Jim Chalmers stepped out this week with the kind of confidence usually reserved for someone who has actually found a way to make money grow on trees. He stood there and told us that the 2025-26 MYEFO is a masterpiece of restraint. He is boasting about a $36.8 billion deficit as if he just found a £20 note in his old trousers. To be fair, it is $5.4 billion better than the pre-election forecast. But let us be real, bragging about a $36 billion hole in the bucket is like bragging that you only crashed your car into a tree at 60 miles per hour instead of 80. You are still in the ditch, mate. Jim's narrative is that Labor's the party of responsible management. He's claiming $20 billion in savings and reprioritizations. He wants us to believe he is scouring the couch cushions of the Treasury for every spare cent. He's talking up private sector recovery and momentum. It's a lovely story, really. It has heroes, it has villains, mostly the previous government. Of course. And it has a happy ending where everyone gets a tax cut and a gold star. But as every Australian knows, when a politician starts using words like momentum and structural improvement, you should probably check your wallet to make sure it's still there. The reality? The deficit is still nearly quadruple what it was last year. We've gone from back-to-back surpluses to deficits as far as the eye can see. As Peta Credlin so poetically put it, it's like a person who goes on a massive shopping spree at Harrods and then tells their spouse they saved money because the designer handbags were 10% off. Jim is trying to sell us a skinny deficit, but it still looks pretty bloated to anyone paying for groceries. Credlin's precision strike. The spending addiction. If Jim Chalmers thought he was going to have a smooth run through the Christmas media cycle, he clearly forgot about Peta Credlin. On Sky News, Credlin did not just critique the MYEFO. She performed a forensic autopsy on it while the patient was still screaming. She looked at Jim's economic wizardry and saw exactly what it was. A smoke and mirrors show designed to hide a massive government spending habit. She did not mince words. She called Labor's problem an addiction to spending, and honestly, the numbers back her up. While Jim is talking about $20 billion in savings, he's conveniently glossing over the $31 billion in new spending over the next 4 years. It is the classic Labor, one for you, two for me approach. Credlin pointed out that the government is bribing you with your own money. It's a brilliant analogy. It's like someone stealing your bicycle and then asking for a thank you because they let you ride it on the weekends. The tension reached a boiling point when the word liar started floating around the digital ether. Credlin's argument is that you cannot claim to be fiscally responsible while the national debt is hurtling toward $1 trillion like a runaway freight train. She highlighted the mark of shame That is the 77 billion structural deterioration of the budget since Labour took office. When you call a treasurer's integrity into question on live TV, you aren't just poking the bear, you are hitting it with a cattle prod. And Jim, predictably, went ballistic. The anatomy of a meltdown. When Jim Chalmers gets defensive, he does not just give a press release, he gets visibly indignant. You can almost see the steam coming out of his ears. His response to the spending addiction accusation was to double down on the unavoidable nature of the costs. He points to $12.7 billion in blowouts, half of which he blames on natural disasters. It is always something, isn't it? If it's not a bushfire, it's a flood. If it's not a flood, it's a global uncertainty. It's the political equivalent of "the dog ate my homework, but the homework cost the taxpayers billions." The treasurer's anger stems from the fact that Credlin is hitting him where it hurts, his credibility as a safe pair of hands. He wants to be seen as the sophisticated economist, the man with the plan, the successor to the great Labour treasurers of the past. But Credlin is painting him as a spendthrift who is more interested in buying votes with election promises than fixing the underlying engine of the economy. The clash is fascinating because it represents the fundamental divide in Australian politics right now. On one side, you have the government saying, "Look at all the nice things we are buying for you. Mental health services, tradie training, cheaper medicines." On the other side, you have Credlin and the fiscal hawk saying, "You are burning the house down to keep us warm for one night. It's a high-stakes game of chicken," and Jim's ballistic reaction shows that the pressure of keeping the plate spinning is starting to take its toll. The inflation dragon, not dead, just napping. While Jin and Peter are duking it out in the media ring, there is a massive, fire-breathing dragon sitting in the corner of the room: inflation. The MYEFO revealed something that should make every Australian reach for the smelling salts. Treasury has revised the inflation forecast up. They are now looking at 3.75% by June 2026. That is well above the Reserve Bank's target of 2 to 3%. Now, why does this matter? Because while Jim is patting himself on the back for delivering tax cuts, the inflation dragon is eating those tax cuts for breakfast. It's like giving a man a £5 note while the price of a loaf of bread goes up by £10. You aren't actually getting ahead. You're just falling behind slightly more slowly.